everybody, and thanks for tuning in. I just wanted to do a quick video showcasing a new product that was just sent to me by my friends over at Mission Engineering. They sent me this to kind of do a video showcasing how this could be used with the HX Stomp, Line 6 HX Stomp that was released a few months back. The HX Stomp is an incredible unit. But in my reading online, some of the small complaints some folks have had is saying, you know, I wish it had maybe more switches, right? So I could control more functions at the same time, maybe be able to do my snapshots, but also be able to bank up and down to different presets or to different banks, right? Or maybe have my 3 snapshots, but also be able to access my tuner and my tap tempo maybe. Or, you know, I could go on and on with examples of how we could use extra switches, right? But that does seem to be one of the things that a lot of folks really wish they had. Well, the folks at Mission Engineering came out with what is a really incredible product. I mean, this thing is tiny, 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 right? Obviously, you add more switches to the Stomp, it's going to be a bigger item, and that would kind of go against what maybe Line 6's whole goal was there, was to create a product that had a very small footprint. This is going to take up very little space on a pedal board. So this is called the Mission Engineering TT2, okay? And the really interesting thing about it is, you'll notice it has 2 switches, which can be either set to momentary or latching in our HX Stomp. I'll go into detail on more looking in the Stomp itself in a couple minutes in the video so that we can see how we can utilize this with our Stomp and set it up properly so it's doing what we want it to do. So it's got our 2 switches, and it also has 2 jacks in the back, 1/4-inch jacks. Now this is what's interesting about this. This can be used with either TS or TRS cables or capable devices, right? So with the Stomp, which, I mean, this can be used with a lot of different products to control various functions depending on the product you're using with, but this video is going to center around HX Stomp. The neat thing about it is we can set this up in one of 2 ways. We can set this up using a simple stereo balanced TRS 1/4-inch plug, have 1 cable going into the Stomp out of the TT2, and we can make all our assignments from HX Stomp, and our foot switches are going to do what we need them to do. So really neat stuff. Very simple setup with a very readily available cable that we can get just about any place we look. We can also use a Y adapter if we chose to do that as well, which would be a balanced cable which would be split out to 2 mono cables, right? And then we would have our 2 mono cables coming from our TT2 into our Stomp. But I mean, you know, probably a cable that's not going to be as readily available, and I don't really see any huge advantage to doing that, okay? How is the quality of this? This thing is built like a tank, like everything Mission does. It's amazing. The switches are incredible. Very, very close feel to that of the HX Stomp, in fact, and the quality seems just incredible too. They do click when they're engaged. You know, some folks may say, oh, I don't like the fact they click, but I think that's a very good feature in the sense that, you know, we know when something has been done, right? We can feel and hear that click, depending on our environment, how noisy it is, that we have actually engaged what we wanted to have engaged, okay? So let's go into our actual HX Stomp and take a look at some of the things we can do with the TT2. But this is an amazing little unit which may just be the answer to a lot of people's problems that they're having with their HX Stomp, in that they want just a couple extra switches without taking up huge amount of pedal board real estate. Okay, so let's go jump over to HX Stomp and take a look how we can set this up. So here we are over at our HX Stomp, and we're going to take a look at how we can properly set up the TT2 to work so it can give us exactly what we're looking for. Here I am on a preset that I made for the folks at Line 6 for the factory presets called Seared Guy, which is a preset based around the Placator amp within our Stomp. So what we have to do first is we have to go over to Global Settings, okay? And we'll page over. We do that by hitting the 2 page buttons together. We page over and we go into Global Settings here by pressing that. We're going to scroll over to Preferences first and page across to here, where it says Expression/FS Tip, Expression/FS Ring. So this is telling us what we're going to assign to our external foot switch / expression pedal output or input on our HX Stomp. Okay, so what we can do is there's some different things we can have here. We could have it set so that we can control 2 expression pedals, and Mission Engineering make the finest expression pedals as well. If we want to use those to control various functions and parameters within our HX Stomp. That's not what this video is going to be about though. But we could also set it up so that we're using a Y cable which controls one foot switch and one expression pedal, which would be good for an expression pedal that has a switch built into it, so we could use it as, let's say, a standard wah pedal, let's say. But for this video, we need to set these both to FS4 and FS5, meaning foot switch 4 and foot switch 5, which is what we are going to control with our TT2. Okay, so once that's set, then we can go across to the foot switch menu within our global settings, and we see right here FS4 function. So that's what this switch on the TT2 is going to control. And then we page across and we have FS5. So what I have them set up for right now is for Stomp 4 and Stomp 5, okay? That's going to turn off particular blocks that we assign within our preset within the HX Stomp, but we'll come back to that in a second. What are our other choices? Well, let's take a look. We could have any of these switches on our TT2 control the following functions. We have Tap Tuner, which right now is being assigned to FS3, which is on our HX Stomp. We could have it do Stomp 4, much like we just said, it can turn off a block within our preset that way. We can have it bank up or bank down. So there's a mode within our HX Stomp which allows us to have a bank of 3 presets showing on the screen at any time. And this will just allow us to set it to bank up or down. If we had this banking down, then we could maybe have foot switch 5 banking up or vice versa. We can have it set so that we go preset up or preset down. So if we're on preset mode, where our preset is showing, we can simply hit foot switch 4 to go up or down, or foot switch 5 to go up and down, however we select it, right? We can go snapshot up, snapshot down. We all know that HX Stomp has 3 snapshots within it, so it allows us to be able to utilize those if we select from, if we assign these 3 onboard switches to them. But what if we want these doing something else? Maybe we can assign our TT2 to be able to go up and down between our snapshots, so another possibility. FS mode, so that's foot switch mode. So basically if we go back to our home view here, by pressing our page button, we can switch between the different views, which is, you know, bank mode here, we have snapshot mode, we have stomp mode essentially, and preset mode. So going back into our globals, what that's going to allow us to do is go either, you see the little arrow pointing that way, like hitting our page button this way to go between those foot switch modes. So we can assign those to our TT2 as well. And then we can go either way on those. And then we have all bypass, which is just going to shut everything off in our signal chain. That could be useful for some if they just want to get, you know, mute everything. And then we have toggle expression pedal. So we could actually turn our expression pedal on and off with it. That's going to be a useful thing if we have an expression pedal that Mission Engineering makes that has a foot switch built into it. So then we could assign one of the external switches to control the expression pedal and one to be able to turn it on and off and act more like a real wah pedal would in real life, right? So let's go back though and assign this to Stomp 4, and we have Stomp 5 assigned here. We'll see what that can do. So let's go to our mode here where, okay, we have our preset, which has both a transistor tape and a reverb. So let's just go back to our globals now. We go to our first button here, bypass assign, okay? And if you notice, what I have set up is the transistor tape is set to foot switch 4. I could set it to whatever foot switch I want, but let's set it to foot switch 4. So now that it's set there, when I hit foot switch 4, transistor tape should turn on and off. Now the other neat function here is I can change that from latching to momentary, so that if I press, it's only going to stay on as long as I hold it. If I let go, it goes back off again. So that's another really neat feature that some folks may really like. Let's keep it on latching for now. We'll keep that on FS4, and then I come over to FS5, and that should now, I moved over to my room reverb, and that's assigned to FS5, so it should go on and off as so. Foot switch 5, I can make that momentary or latching as well. So really interesting stuff there, and you can see how flexible this is going to be. And maybe I can have, I don't know, snapshot set up here or preset mode, or preset up and down, and my tuner and tap tempo. You know, so that's beyond the scope of this video. Obviously, there is so many possibilities here, and it's really going to be open to personal preference for us to decide how we want to use this, right? And for our own particular situation. So let's go back into global here and let's maybe try something else. Let's set this just for one other thing to say go, let's go bank up for FS4 and, oops, I'm sorry, bank down for FS5. And then we come over back to our home button here, sorry, and we'll go to our banks and let's see what happens. We're now banking up with button 4 and banking back down with button 5. So that's it, folks. This is the Mission Engineering TT2. As you can see, it really adds a lot of functionality to our HX Stomp pedals that may allow us to use the Stomp in a way that maybe we felt a little handcuffed by before, right? Maybe we just didn't have all the functionality we needed to get through a gig, being able to access our presets or different functions. And I think that this is probably the answer to that. So go to missionengineering.com. They have the TT2 up there available for order. I believe street price on it is $59. What an excellent device, and I don't think anybody's going to be sorry for making that extremely affordable purchase and adding this to their pedal board and really expanding the possibilities with our HX Stomp. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Head over to Mission Engineering to check it out and order yourself up a TT2. And also, if you're going to be at NAMM next week, I guess it is, please stop by the Mission Engineering booth and stop by the Line 6 booth and see all the great products that these guys are putting out. Two wonderful companies that just have so many great products for us guitar players. What a great time to be a guitarist. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Ciao for now, and we'll talk soon.